All right, let's jump right into this incredibly fascinating ecosystem of curated content. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're looking at something that is just completely refreshing in our modern media landscape. It's called the Daily Pix Network. And honestly, this network represents a massive structural shift away from those noisy, chaotic, algorithmic feeds we are all just so used to dealing with every day. It's moving us toward a clean, genuinely human curated web. So today, we're going to unpack exactly what this network is, how its 7 distinct data-driven verticals actually operate, and ultimately, how this entire framework provides literally the perfect blueprint for a daily, highly engaging explainer show. This right here really gets to the heart of the modern internet's biggest problem. I mean, we're all basically drowning in engagement bait. If you've tried to search for a product review, a recipe, or even just local real estate trends lately, you know exactly what that tangled mess of bots and noise feels like. It is an endless stream of SEO-stuffed listicles, aggressive pop-up ads, and algorithmically generated sludge that is specifically designed to keep you scrolling, not to actually give you an answer. Well, the Daily Pix Network basically throws all of that out the window. Instead, they focus entirely on human curation and delivering clean, accessible data. So, here is our game plan. We'll start with escaping that algorithmic sludge, then we'll dive into curating life and leisure, demystifying tech and markets, navigating homes and cities, and finally, we'll wrap up with the ultimate channel blueprint. Part 1. Escaping the algorithmic sludge. Let's take a quick look at the core philosophy behind this entire network. Okay, so the absolutely crucial point here is that this network makes 4 unwavering promises across all of its sites, and they prioritize your time and your trust above everything else. First off, everything is picked by a real person who actually looked at the data or tested the product. Second, it's fresh every single day. It's not some overwhelming fire hose of content, just a single, carefully chosen item that's actually worth 2 minutes of your time. Third, there are absolutely no paywalls or email walls blocking you. We all hate those, right? Here, the site itself is the product. And finally, no pay to play. 0 businesses can pay to rank higher. If something gets recommended, it's because it actually earned its spot. Moving on to part 2, curating life and leisure, which covers picks by game, picks by gift, and picks by recipe. Let's see how this human touch works in the real world. Now, what is really interesting about the Picks by Gift editorial team is that they don't just throw a list of products at you. They tell you exactly why a specific item matters for the person receiving it. Take the Ember Smart Mug 2, for example. They aren't just saying, hey, buy this mug. They frame it for a specific situation, like for a modern traveler or as an anniversary gift. They point out that it actually solves a real problem, like keeping coffee hot for an hour and a half, instead of just being another generic piece of ceramic. It's curation, but with deep context. And then, over on Picks by Game, they completely skip those tired top 50 of all time lists. You know, the ones that always devolve into endless internet flame wars over complex mechanics? Yeah, they don't do that. They take a totally different approach by mapping their game catalog to very specific life situations. Are you looking for a game for a long flight, or maybe something to play with your cousins over the holidays? They have a list for that. For instance, for a family with kids, they recommend a 30-minute tile-laying game called Azul, because it takes 5 minutes to teach, it looks beautiful, and it perfectly bridges that tricky gap between an 8-year-old and an adult. For cooking, Picks by Recipe just cuts right through the clutter. We have all been there, right? You're furiously scrolling past a 2,000-word personal essay about a trip to Tuscany just to find out how much garlic to use. It's the worst. Well, Picks by Recipe gives you the recipe, straight up. They have over 600 free open recipes across 29 cuisines with 0 pop-ups. They just give you a simple daily note, like suggesting a smoky lentil chili for a chilly spring evening, and then boom, straight to the ingredients. All right, part 3, demystifying tech and markets. This covers Picks by model and Picks by odds. Let's pivot from leisure over to hard data. 368. That is a massive number, and it represents the total AI models tracked and ranked head-to-head across 82 real-world tasks by Picks by model. The AI landscape is incredibly fragmented right now, and honestly, it's pretty overwhelming. But instead of relying on Twitter hype, Picks by model pulls actual data from public catalogs and vendor docs, refreshing it every day, so you can find exactly what you need based on context, cost, and true capability. This kind of rigorous at-a-glance data is incredibly empowering. When you compare Mistral Nemo and Meta's Llama models, you're literally looking at fractions of a cent per million tokens.
And the editors give you the contextual advice you actually need. Like, if you are generating a massive technical document, they'll tell you a model like QN 3.6 is worth the slight delay because of its massive 262,000 token context window. It's just perfectly curated data to help you find the absolute cheapest models or the most robust long-form generators without the headache.
Now, over on Picks by Odds, there is a totally fascinating breakdown of their prediction markets. They track nearly 300 of them, and as you'll notice, they're heavily focused on the economy and crypto. They pull live data from platforms like Kalshi and Polymarket to create a real-time dashboard of human consensus. And they don't just track sports scores. They are tracking 117 economic markets, like Fed rate decisions, and even 38 weather markets tied strictly to NOA data. It's an impartial look at what people actually believe is going to happen, backed up by where they are putting their own money.
Part 4. Navigating Homes and Cities, featuring Picks by Property and Picks by Town. Let's move into the physical world and explore our neighborhoods.
The clarity you get on Picks by Property is just fantastic. They distill 195 different U.S. metros to show you exactly where the real estate market is shifting. Sourced straight from public Zillow research data and refreshed monthly, it gives you a perfectly clean snapshot. No subscriptions required. You can instantly see that Rockford, Illinois is booming right now. Homes are sitting on the market for just 9 days, and values are up nearly 9%. But then you look at Cape Coral, Florida, and they're seeing a huge cool down, with an 8.8% drop and properties lingering for over 2 months. High signal, low noise. And for local services, Picks by Town uses a super clean 3-step methodology to recommend the best roofer or handyman for you. When you usually search for a plumber online, the top results are almost always just the companies that paid the most for ads, right? Well, Picks by Town completely flips that script. They rank over 8,000 local businesses purely by compiling public reviews, checking how long they've been around, and measuring response quality. A business can update their phone number, sure, but their actual rank, that is fixed entirely by the data, not by an invoice. Okay, let's just step back for a second and look at the big picture. We have just toured 7 highly organized, fiercely independent, data-rich websites. The big question is, how do you actually take all of this structured curation and turn it into something people want to tune into and watch every single day? Which brings us to part 5, the YouTube channel blueprint. Let's see how this ecosystem builds the ultimate foundation for a video format. Imagine a daily explainer show that actually mirrors the rhythm of your day. You start your morning energized, looking at hard financial data. What are the prediction markets saying? Where is the housing market shifting? Then by midday, you transition to pure utility. Which AI model is the cheapest to use today, or what home maintenance should you be booking? And finally, in the evening, you wind down with lifestyle picks. What's a great dinner to make tonight, or what board game should you set up? The content always feels perfectly relevant to the moment. And the micro stories that come out of this network provide these incredibly engaging ready-made hooks. Just think about this for an opening segment. Editors noticed nearly $10 million flowing into a market asking if the U.S. will acquire part of Greenland. I mean, what? That isn't your standard sports bet. That is a massive, bizarre data point signaling an underlying geopolitical story. The network surfaces these fascinating realities of human consensus every single day, which essentially hands a host the absolute perfect script to captivate an audience. So really, this proves that the Daily Picks network is way more than just a collection of websites. It is a meticulously structured editorial ecosystem that is completely ready to be narrated. A show built on this foundation has infinite runway. It never has to manufacture fake drama, because the real-world data provides all the intrigue natively. The content is totally pre-researched, the trust is already built in through absolute transparency, and you have 7 distinct worlds to jump between, which keeps things visually dynamic and fresh every single day. Ultimately, in a world of endless feeds, pure, impartial human curation might just be the absolute ultimate media frontier. The Daily Picks network is proving there is a much better way to learn, to decide, and to understand the world around us. By relying on human insight and clean data, it cuts through the noise entirely. So I am going to leave you with this one thought. Are you going to keep drowning in the algorithmic sludge, or is it finally time to let human curation guide your day?